Here as we got more and more people launching into the live stream. Again, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out on a Sunday night. We're going to have a blast. We're going to get in here. Tonight's topics is going to be around a little bit of tech, a little bit of inspiration around, who inspires you. Get to know Becky and Chris a little bit more and hear a little bit of their journey as they've been, kind of ramping it up on YouTube. If you guys didn't know, you guys got a shout out from Peter Mckinnon, hey? We're going to talk later about you. Do you actually know him?
We met him in Vancouver, and I guess we're internet friends now.
Oh, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, maybe talk a little bit of gear, and get into it. So maybe let's get everybody up to speed. If you guys don't know Becky and Chris, they are a power couple YouTubers, I guess we will say. They've been getting into it. They're, wildly handy if you watch their videos. They've got all sorts of do-it-yourself, but good with the camera. I could go on and on and on, but I actually have a quick intro video from them. Then we'll talk about what's changed since they got into that. So let's pop over to that, and you guys get to watch.
You're probably wondering who we are. So by trade, Becky's a graphic designer, but she's also a professional photographer.
There we are. Are we on?
Chris is a radiologist, which is a medical doctor specializing in imaging.
And also, I'm a student pilot. We are common law spouses. Our entire relationship is founded on imaging. Everything is pixels, creating images. That's our lives.
Jamaica, Chris, can we talk?
We're originally from St. John's, Newfoundland, but we're living temporarily for 1 year in Vancouver, BC. We met in art class.
Chris and I have been together since I was 15 and he was 18.
We're the only two people who didn't have our darkroom project done.
He messed up an entire roll of photographic paper. And he gave me his ICQ number and he wrote on my sketchbook. And our entire teenage years were spent in front of the computer, shooting videos, making movies, taking pictures.
I was making BMX videos, and she would watch me edit them. That's how she knows how to edit.
Technology has changed greatly since the year 2005.
We release a weekly vlog, so check that out every Sunday. Tech videos, travel videos,
Home tours.
So if you like all the things that we like, maybe you'll subscribe. Hit that sub button right there.
All right, there you guys go. A brief introduction to Becky and Chris, except you guys, a lot has changed in your life, hey? Can you tell us a little bit about, you were one place doing one thing, and now in that video it said you were common law and you lived in Vancouver. What's going on now?
Okay, so since we made that video, we got married, so we're no longer common law. And we live in Buffalo, New York, so we immigrated to America. And I'm still a graphic designer and photographer, and he's still a radiologist.
Let's be clear, an interventional radiologist. Which
right.
Sounds complicated. I watched the video. You can do minor surgeries and other things. There's probably a more interesting vlog and a better way to say that. But what interventional radiologist? What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's a subspecialty within radiology, and even some people don't know what radiology. Like a lot of people don't know what radiology is, and basically it's a branch of medicine that deals mostly with diagnostic imaging. And traditionally, radiologists their job has been basically to make diagnoses. So if you have a CT scan, someone would need to interpret that. If you have an MRI, someone would have to look at it and interpret it. And basically, I kind of say that I'm a storyteller. I just basically look at the pixels and make up a story about what's going on.
That makes sense. And it is like, it's images again, right? It's like, YouTube, it's imagery, it's pixels still, or I don't know, I was watching your video, explaining resolutions and different things around that. But a wild chunk of, school you would have been through, probably 12, 13 years, I'm guessing, somewhere around there.
14.
Yeah. And is that not enough? Graphic design and photography and then, you're a doctor, a specialist, a radiologist. Why YouTube?
Well, that's kind of, it's interesting because video has always been a part of my life. I was making BMX videos as a kid in the 9th grade. And all the way up until university. So I've always been a huge video nut, and then Becky's always been a photographer, and then since we've basically been together for 14 years now, our kind of lives have sort of crossed into one. And she's since picked up video skills, and I've since picked up photography from her.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting switch of roles or combination of roles. I guess when you live with somebody, you just basically grow into the same person.
Right.
So you kind of seem like the natural thing, I guess.
Yeah, totally. We started off making content for the internet on our blog, and I am really not a great writer. So, we talked about Gary Vee earlier before we hopped on. He always says, tell your story the best way, whether it's like written content, video, or audio. And video just comes the most natural to us. So we decided to kind of make that switch. Did you meet him?
You went and saw him speak.
I saw him speak. I didn't meet him, but I did meet D-Rock. That was pretty cool.
I'm actually in Daily V. I'm going to say it's like 163 or 173. I was in Atlanta for a conference. Oh, it's kind of a wild story, but there were only about 200 people at this conference where Gary Vee was speaking at, and 190 of them had no idea who he was. So there's like 10 of us, and this is just like last year, 10 of us there, and I'm like, nobody knows who he is, so I get to like chat with him for 60 seconds and chat with D-Rock for 5 minutes and like hang out and in the vlog. And anyway, it's a wild, fun world where normally he's like getting mobbed by 8,000 people on the street when he tweets where he is. So, that's kind of handy. But have you guys like, who taught who what? Or do you guys feel like your skills, like, again, you said, BMX videos and photography and different things, like, who's kind of taking the lead on this whole vlogging journey?
Well, Chris taught me everything about video that I know. But in terms of like the vlog, I do everything for the vlog. I do all the editing, I do all the social media. If you're talking to us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you're probably talking to me, unless it's signed -C. I like basically head up the vlog, but in terms of like learning that stuff, Chris taught me all of that, I guess, as we grew into that one person. He basically taught me all of stuff.
Let's deal with a couple of the tech things people are going to want to know. What are you guys shooting with?
For vlogging, we shoot with the Sony a7S II, 16-35 f4 Rode Video Micro GorillaPod, and we have a Zion Crane V2. And for photos, we're shooting on a 5D Mark III, and we have like a ton of Canon lenses, 16-35, 50, 1.2, 24-70, 7200, and a Metabones adapter, so we can use those lenses on the Sony.
Why the Sony a7S II for vlogging?
Well, we actually started vlogging on Osmo, DJI Osmo, and it was hell. It was the worst experience. The camera was really interesting, but for vlogging, it just wasn't good. So
you talked about that on one of your videos.
You did, yeah. I think you did, yeah. And so, it was noisy. The audio was shit. You could hear the fan always. And so we wanted a camera that was full frame, that was good in low light, that shot in log gamma. And then the Sony a7S II just seemed to have all of those things. Plus, it had the limiter for the audio built into the camera. So
we also,
when
we first started the vlogging, wanting to get into it, we were shooting on our 5Ds, so we were really used to trying to make like sort of cinematic, shallow depth of field content.
Yeah.
And when we switched over to more like
4/3,
what we wanted to do is essentially bring like the commercial video projects we were doing, but do it for like a kind of a lifestyle vlog, which was actually going to be 100% on our home renovation. We had a cabin project that we were planning on doing in Newfoundland, which that's all been upended since we're now living in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But we just started to vlog for the year we were in Vancouver, just documenting our lives. And what we wanted to do initially when we started getting into it was we wanted to bring in really that shallow depth of field, really nicely graded stuff, and try to have a really cinematic look. But we also wanted steady footage, so we thought, hey, we can get it all with the Osmo, the Osmo Pro actually, with the X3 camera and all that.
X5.
X5 rather. Sorry.
Yeah.
Get it together, Chris.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is what I'm worried about when I'm live. I make mistakes. I make it look like an idiot.
No, that makes it fun. And for you guys who are out there watching this, if you haven't seen Becky and Chris's vlog yet, it looks amazing. I mean, colors, we've been talking on this channel a lot about the struggle with Sony colors and skin tones and color science and some of those other things. Whatever you guys are doing, you just, I think you've got it nailed. And I don't know whether it's that photography background or whatever it is. I mean, it's definitely got its own style, right? Like it's kind of like this desaturated kind of blue, but like high contrast. And, it's, anyway, if you guys haven't seen it, but like, how did you end up getting there with your colors?
Well, it's still a work in progress, for one. I pretty much I'm always trying to tweak and refine our process. But it's just been sort of an evolving look that we've always gravitated towards.
I guess it all came from like when we were doing photography, and just the way we processed our photos, and we kind of wanted to have our videos look that way as well. But I find with anything, you know, you kind of your style changes over time, and you know, sometimes it's more blue tones, sometimes it's warmer, and so like Chris said, we're kind of trying to work on that now and nail down what the look is and the process. So we've been trying a couple of different things.
And maybe our look will continue to change. Next year it'll have a slightly different feel, and we'll be able to look back and say, oh, that was the, you know, the blue and teal era.
Yeah. But you guys, like, because sometimes you'll shoot videos on your own, right? Like one of you will go one place and the other one, you know, and you'll bring the camera with you. And then you guys are actually coloring your footage separately, right? You color your own videos, but somehow they have the same feel. Like, did you agree on that, or?
She does, like, if I'm ever filming or go, like, I've taken a couple trips by myself, and then I'll come back with a card full of footage. I'll just hand it to her, and she'll dump it, and she'll do it whatever she's doing.
Okay, so she's...
So, like, I'm not actually making my own videos.
I do.
She does too. Except, I have done a couple projects.
Recently, you've been like super into doing the grading yourself, where like I'll do the editing and the audio and the titles and all the things, and basically get it ready, and then
because I've been like super unhappy with it, and I'm still really trying to refine it.
He's bent, so I'm getting it.
And like you said, the skin tones, just trying to nail all that. It's just find the perfect way to get a piece of log footage back to like a nice looking image.
I'll say to the viewers out there, and maybe I'll say this to you guys too, but what I find interesting about YouTube is now, like, there's so many creators out there, right? And so many different kinds of people that you can follow. And I mean, obviously found out about you guys because either Peter somewhere on Twitter or on YouTube, or I can't remember where your shout out came, but you know, I went and watched a piece of content. And I thought, oh, you know, it was fine. But then it's interesting because once I watched the second one, and then I watched the third one, I watched the fourth one, that's kind of when I fell in love with it, right? Because it's about characters in some ways. And so I think that's what can be tough about discovering new people is now I legit laugh out loud every single episode at something silly that you guys do in the process. But it's funny how, you know, sometimes it can take you a little bit to kind of like, you know, warm up to a new person or learn them. So, you know, if you guys are out there, I'd say give it 2 or 3 vlogs, and I think you're just gonna love it. I think start with the New Year's one. It's really, really funny. I've got a couple of questions here from the audience, so I'm gonna throw it out to you guys. So the Patels say, question: did you ever struggle with what content to put out, or switch from the other concept initially, you know, that you wanted to go with? Like, you know, you talked about starting at home renovation, and then you've kind of landed here in kind of a completely different story. Like, how did that happen?
Well, it's all been kind of like a work in process, like progress. When we started our YouTube channel, we did a couple of home renovation videos, and like they didn't feel like us. They didn't feel right. They felt too, I don't know, contrived or something.
We were like sitting on the couch with like lapel mics and like,
this is how we lay laminate floor. But it just didn't fit with us, and so we just started doing the adventure vlogs, and we're still kind of evolving, I think, with what we're doing. I mean, we went straight into adventures and travel, and then, you know, now more so we're getting back into incorporating the home decor. And, you know, a lot of people say you got to find your niche, and I think we're kind of all over the place. You know, we do tech stuff, we do helicopter stuff, we do travel things, we do house stuff. But it's kind of like all the things that we're into, so we're trying to kind of jam it all into a little package.
Yeah, coincidentally enough, I replied to someone's comment on YouTube the first time in like a month. But he said like, oh, all the things I like, real estate and do-it-yourself home stuff and video. And I was like, interesting that he said that, because we're always constantly worried. Like, it seems like every week we're having a conversation. Do you think our content's like too all over the place?
Yeah,
do you
what,
think it's
what
like,
direction are we going in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we always end up saying, you know what? We're just going to document what we're into, use it as a platform for our life. And as long as we do that, then it's going to hopefully come off as authentic. And that's kind of what we strive for, I think. Yeah. And that's sort of what we've always gravitated towards. As long as we're doing what we're into or showing really what's going on in our lives, then you can't really go wrong. That's
right. I think like, a video I put out a couple of days ago is on how to be original, and this idea of, originality versus just being a copycat, because certain people get labeled with, certain things. And if you do the same kind of transition as somebody, or you shoot the same kind of shots, or you shoot, and people are like, oh, you're just copying a person. But at the end of the day, if you're actually just being yourself in whatever content you're creating, you can't copy somebody because, yeah, sure, like, you could use slow motion footage, you could use shallow depth of field, you could use the same transitions, but the people who made them famous, like, it wasn't them, they weren't the first ones to do it. They just kind of did it, infused themselves into it, and it kind of became it. So, I guess in some ways, if you guys are just yourselves, then some people love you and some people won't connect because their life is a little bit different, but, that's okay. And it maybe, actually, there was kind of another question here I liked from, how far up do we got to go there? Here we go. So Reality TV Dad says, do you discuss the direction of your story content before you begin recording for your vlogs, or do you just kind of like know you're doing something and, just kind of jump into it?
We used to just like film everything and jump into it and then figure it out. And so our vlogs kind of became, we're here doing this and we're here eating this.
It was like a taco eating montage.
Pretty much.
Just always eating tacos in Vancouver.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Tacos are delicious. But yeah, we're trying to work on our storytelling. So now we are really trying to think about what are we going to film? What is the next vlog going to be? And like, so people can basically watch the video, walk away and say that this video was about this thing or these two things. So eating tacos, yeah. But yeah, so that's what we're doing now is basically kind of loosely planning. Obviously, we don't want to plan too much because we like the spontaneity of, what adventures are happening, whatever. But basically like a loose idea of what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing's like storyboarded out or anything like that. But there's sort of two reasons for that. Was one, it makes more interesting content. But two, we also kind of found that we were just living life through a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of almost took us out of the moment.
Yep.
And, you realize it's like one of those things where you go to a concert and then you realize you looked at the concert at the back of your phone the whole time.
Yep.
It's like that, but for everything, it's like we hold on, it's like, let's just step back here for a second. If we can think of like a theme for each vlog or what we're trying to convey, then we can be more strategic with how we're shooting and in turn be in the moment more.
Mm-hmm.
So while people might say like, oh, if you're thinking about what your vlog is going to be, you're almost like contriving your life, but actually it's opposite of that. It lets us live our lives more free and not always just have to live through a camera.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great point. And, for me coming from, for a while there, vlogging kind of 5 days a week. And I actually remember even reading an interview with, Candace Poole, Casey Neistat's wife, how she was saying that vlogging, being married to somebody who's vlogging can be tough because he's always thinking about what's the story, what's the angle, and you're kind of always on for capturing as opposed to going, this is a story we're going to tell, and so we're going to be intentional about telling that. But once that story is told, then the rest of the time we can actually go and just kind of be ourselves, live our life and do it. Really important question here from Greg Moore. He says, what does Chris use to do his hair? Because it looks amazing.
Be right back.
He's actually going?
He's going to get it.
Hair dryer, round brush. He's got way more hair products than I have, but I think KMS Hair Play is his like number one. I think he's getting it. Oh, and hairspray too.
His go-to jam, because it looks pretty magical.
I think it depends on like if he does like the slick back situation or if
he's got a few different things.
Coming. Oh wow, okay, he's brought everything out.
Okay, here we go, you guys. We're finding out the tutorial for Chris's hair.
Bonus.
Walk us through the process, Chris.
Step one.
Wash your hair.
Step one.
Cut a hole in the box.
Towel dry.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored, yeah. This is my secret weapon. I have trialed multiple hair products, and this, to this day, is the best one I found. KMS Messing Cream.
Wow.
Anyway.
Do you have an Amazon link you can share with us? We'll get you some commish.
Oh, shit, yeah, I need to get... Where's our...
Get that Amazon
yeah, we got to get our affiliate links up. Not sponsored.
Okay.
And then it's just blow dry for volume and do a little bit of shaping with the roller brush.
My hair is all over this. Just don't judge.
I'll do this, like this, and roll it, and then just blow it here, and then let it set, and then let go.
Oh, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everybody's asking about, you're from Buffalo, Bills fans, probably not. Ever slammed each other through a folding table while tailgating? You know, that's probably an intense question. Just for the viewers who are watching, Becki and Chris are, you know, originally from St. John's, Newfoundland. Is that kind of correct? Maybe not originally. You can clarify that. Went to Vancouver, now we're in Buffalo for Chris's, interventional radiology. Is that why you're there? Why are you in Buffalo?
That's why we are here.
And Becky's got a job with the same company doing their social media and marketing type stuff.
Wow.
So we're both working for the same company.
That's
Great.
cool. How close are you to getting your helicopter pilot's license, Chris?
I hold a commercial Canadian license right now, and I'm just in the process of converting that to an FAA endorsement.
Clark Burdett asked the question, which is more important to you, an entertaining or an informative video?
I think the goal is like entertaining and informative. I find sometimes when you're watching informative videos and they're not entertaining, it's kind of like, wah, wah, like watch it on 2 times the speed. And sometimes I'm afraid that I'm that I'm like boring. But
if you talk so fast, no one's gonna watch it on 2 times speed.
Yeah, true. It's because I'm from Newfoundland. But I think everyone says content is king, but I think story is also there. And
depends on why you're watching it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
What do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. You cannot inform without entertaining, or it's so boring to watch. There are people who get away with pure entertainment and don't inform, but part of why I love this platform is this idea that I can actually leave the world a slightly better place by contributing something to people. But there is also the idea too of, I think especially, you know, even now or when you're on your video, sometimes you gotta dial it up a little bit, you know, or else it's boring to watch. Like, I'm sure there'd be people, if they came and met me in real life, they'd be like, man, like, you're boring. And it's like, no, it's not boring. It's just when you're on the video, you gotta be a little bit more expressive, and you gotta be a little bit more entertaining and engaging. And I think that there's a lot of people who can shoot some really nice footage and put together some, you know, good looking vlogs, but then they don't have, you know, they're not driving the personality side. And then the other side, you have people with tons of personality, and, you know, it's kind of this absolutely interwoven piece. And some people are the best at what they do, so they can just maybe do one or the other. But I've been trying to be more intentional with what I'm doing to go, what am I leaving with people today? Or even to the, you know, previous question about, you know, how much planning do I put in the vlogs? Before everything I did, I just grabbed the camera and I started the day. And whatever happened that day happened. Whereas now I'm trying to think about what's actually like the theme or the story that I want to tell by the end of the day, and try and weave that into still the spontaneous moments. But if it's not entertaining, like, why are we here? We've all had those teachers before, teachers who made it fun and interesting and exciting, and then we've had those teachers who they read off the PowerPoints, and nobody wants to watch that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you definitely have to amp yourself up. I always tell you, I'm like, all right, Chris, bring your energy, let's go.
She's waiting, and she comes to me, Chris, come here and look at the waveforms. Look at the waveforms.
I'm like, come on, Chris.
And I got this problem where I was like, okay, so I try to start off really high energy, and then it's like, hey, everybody, and there's like, just tapes it.
Just go.
That's funny. A couple more questions. I mean, favorite YouTuber, or who's really inspiring you guys these days that, you know, you're kind of watching, looking to, and helping push you forward in what you guys are doing?
I'll let you answer that one.
Justin. It's whoever we've constantly subscribed to. Who do we got on our list that pops up on the regular?
Obviously Peter Mckinnon.
Like Pete pops up all the time,
Pete
so we're
pops
always anxious to watch his videos, or looking forward to his.
Maddie as well.
Maddie from Travel Feels, yeah, he's always a guy who's, we're looking forward to seeing his videos. He's got a really nice look to his stuff too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very talented. Who else
is
we look
there?
at?
Casey Neistat's always been a staple, and that was kind of the beginning for a lot of people, I feel like, for getting bloggers. So we enjoy watching his content. And his is like you were kind of saying, you know, he's, you know, a very good storyteller and entertaining, but, you know, he's not like cranking out the cinematic stuff that other people would. So everyone's got their strengths, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watch people for different reasons. Who else are we watching? There's like 100 million people, I'm sure, that we look at on the regular. That
you just pull up your list. Yeah, Brad Friesen, he hasn't posted in a while, but we met him a couple times when we were out in Vancouver. He's a fellow helicopter pilot, and we kind of got turned on to his content. He did a collaboration with Casey Neistat back, I don't know, a couple of years ago now. So he's, I think his channel exploded after that. He's sitting at like 200K now, 250K.
Oh yeah, is he kind of up in the Arctic?
He's in BC.
Oh, he's in
so
yeah.
He's he lives in Vancouver, but he flies out of
Right.
airport called Pittman.
Yeah, because there was this episode where they went up to try and do like they were trying to ride jet skis in the frozen ocean, I think, and their jet skis ended up breaking or something, and they couldn't make like the movie that
was the Casey Neistat collab, and then Casey posted another video after that, something about how he kind of lied or mistold the story a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was this collab with Brad. Yeah, they long lined a jet ski up, and then he couldn't carry that payload with his helicopters. They had to get another helicopter in, and then I think what happened was a piece of something went into the water intake.
Right.
The thing broke before they could even get it working, get it off one. So.
Okay, you guys, I got to show you a clip here. This is from Chris and Becky, because I want to know, Chris, like, were you a gymnast or? I'm gonna load this up for you guys, but yeah, I want your comment on that. Are you a gymnast?
Yes, he is totally a gymnast.
Once a gymnast, always a gymnast.
Okay. You guys, everybody's gonna know my secrets right now. They're seeing that I have one PC here, and oh, there it is. Oh, I don't even know how to navigate a PC. I just ran out of computers. I got one here, one here. Here we go. Chris is a gymnast. That's what I called this. Let's all watch this together. We're gonna watch a wild, amazing tumble line. Oh, it's so loud for everybody.
Oh!
Whoa!
That sucked.
Oh!
Dustin's porn stash. Okay.
Anyway, I hope you guys saw that. Anyway, that tumble line. Where did you learn to do tumble lines?
I was a gymnast from my elementary school days. I think I stopped gymnastics in grade 6, maybe. But yeah, it was. I still feel like I can do some stuff.
Like you did handstrings in the backyard. Remember when we first started going out?
Yeah.
Like, Chris, go do some backflips down in the backyard.
I used to impress her when we were courting.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah. You almost broke your legs at the trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
park.
I could barely stand up the next day.
That looked painful.
It was excruciatingly painful.
For those of you that are just tuning in, you guys, some people are asking, hey, who's Becky and Chris? Quick recap is... Oh, I've got weird echo. Anyway, they are a couple interventional radiologist, graphic designer, photographer, power couple doing it on YouTube, and they tell funny stories. They make me laugh, so I like laughing. So there you go. Let's see other questions here. Somebody's asking, why did Peter Mckinnon shout you out? And they're asking, did they miss out? How did that end up happening?
We sent him a check for $5,000.
Perfect, that's the way to do it.
How did that happen?
Yo, we'll buy your coffee for $5,000, and you can.
Yeah.
We met Peter last year
In Vancouver.
Yeah, it was. We've always been like a consumer of his content, and so Brad Friesen, who was the helicopter pilot we mentioned before, we met him at a YouTube function. And we met his filmer / editor extraordinaire, Trevin, who, I don't know if you're familiar with any of their content, but so Trevin's kind of does all of that stuff there. So we've been in touch with Trevin a bit more and had his number. And we saw that Pete Mckinnon was in town in Vancouver. So we just said, hey, if you need an extra filmer, let us know. We're a fan of his content. And he was just like, oh, well, we're going up on a trip, in the helicopter tomorrow, but we don't have any extra room. But, we're going out for beers tonight if you want to come hang out. So, all right.
Cool.
So, we met him there at a random bar. And, he's a pretty down-to-earth, nice guy. And he subbed to our channel. And that was kind of how it all happened.
Amazing.
We've been interacting on the internet. Yeah, it's been cool. So, yeah, he just said... It's like, I want to send you a package, and so I was like, cool. Gave my address, and yeah.
And the rest is history.
That's it.
Made obviously some tons about
his package.
Yeah,
Peter McKinnon's tasty package, I believe you called it.
I believe that's what I called it.
Oh, there's somewhere, we talk about this. I should bring this up for everybody. This is my, days since last tech disaster board. Apparently we've got some weird echo, although I don't hear it right now, but there's always things going wrong when you're playing on live functions. Make Echo great again. Hey, yeah, does anybody like the t-shirt? Make fanny packs great again. You guys fanny packs? Fans of fanny packs?
Love it.
I recognize that slogan since living in America.
It's actually like, especially before when I was shooting with Panasonic and Micro Four Thirds, you could put like 3 lenses in a fanny pack, you know, and like a spare body almost if you had a good size fanny pack. So, you know, it was amazing for that stuff.
Like a nice little photo vest kind of situation.
Probably on the same level of
I would
fashion.
definitely wear a photo fanny pack before I'd wear like a photo vest.
Really? Okay.
Well,
Hey, have you seen those the holsters that you can get where there's like 3 lens mounts?
Yep.
And you just like click your lenses in.
those are dope.
I
I
can't.
feel like those are the level of.
To me, that's like
nerdiness.
having a giant BlackBerry holder, you know, holster on your side. It's the same thing.
I feel like it would. That product definitely catered to the same demographic.
Absolutely. Okay, what do you guys think? Or let's see if you guys are going to weigh in on this. What do you guys think about this whole all the YouTubers switching to the Canon 60 Mark II for one video and then switching back afterwards?
There was probably some sort of pushing of product, I would imagine, from Canon. Most people, the few people that we saw, were fairly transparent about it, which is, I think, of utmost importance. But yeah, I mean, it's probably just Canon trying to get market share, push a product. It's just like anything else.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool just to see what all the other cameras are doing, like new. I'm always curious about what the new technology is. I think that Canon is probably feeling the heat from Sony in terms of the video market. So,
About time.
no.
I would love it. I would love it if Canon would feel that pressure more and put out something that just kills the A7S.
Yes, because I would love to just
We're
be shooting
talking
video
about
on
today.
Canon always.
We've got Sony lenses, like Canon's. We were looking at the Sony lineup, like lens lineup today.
Yeah.
And you're just like, there's just so much to be desired. Like all like the specialty, like fast primes that you can get with Canon, they just can't be matched.
Yeah.
And we've got our full lens lineup for Canon. Like we've got a 12 to 24.
Yeah.
We've got a 16 and 35.
AC51 too.
Yeah, like there's so much, but none of the autofocus works with
Yeah.
the Metabones adapter that we have. They're essentially all manual lenses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of get it, I guess, where it comes from, because for vlogging, you need a selfie screen. Well, I guess you don't need to. Both of us are actually currently vlogging without a selfie screen, although I've got a little monitor that I'm playing with putting on the top. But, like, selfie screen, great autofocusing. I mean, now it kind of seems like slow motion, decent low-light performance. So, you know, the 60 Mark II was maybe fine, you know, for some of those things. But it seemed like in the vlogs I watched with it, it was being weird on some of the focusing and different things. But Canon just needs to put 4K into their cheaper cameras and start pushing themselves. But it feels like very much a marketing decision, you know, to try and push people up the range. And Sony just needs to give us a vlogging screen, and Panasonic just needs to give us good autofocusing. But it seems like they're all staying out of each other's way for some reason.
I want that 64K.
Yeah.
I want that 64K.
Yes, I do. A
I feel like
GH5.
It doesn't really matter, but like I'm a big fan of 4K. Just because.
Yeah, but it was the same discussions when HD came out, and people were saying 1080 doesn't matter, 720 is fine,
Yep.
and it's always going to be people saying the last iteration was fine when compared to the next one, and it's just, but at some point you'll incrementally look back and be like, wow, 4K is so much higher resolution than 720p.
Yeah.
So it's you know it's the same arguments, just 6 years later, and it's going to be. Years from now, it's going to be the same arguments. Although I think we're probably going to. My
I think
prediction
we're
is
gonna max out.
we'll top out at 8K because it just becomes ridiculous at some point.
At some point, the human eye just can't get past it, right? Have you guys played VR yet? Like HTC Vive or some like proper VR system?
We actually did a vlog. Must have been last
It's like
winter,
over a year
a long time ago.
Yeah.
We went to a VR cafe in Vancouver and we played zombie games.
Yeah.
It was terrifying and also awesome.
That for me is where I'm like, yes, I will get lost for days playing. Arizona Sunrise is one that's like the 2-player one where, you know, it's like, it's real. Like you're in there, and then some other ones where I'm like, if I had more time, I would just love to spend days in virtual reality.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what people do with YouTube.
Yeah.
I carry other people as we watch their content.
I want to know, this is my question to the audience. Do you guys ever end up with times where you are just mean to watch one YouTube video and then like 4 hours goes by and you've like gone down the deep dark rabbit hole and suddenly you know all these things you never knew about, or just got sucked into some kind of useless content. Guys, let me know what that last rabbit hole was for you and we will talk about some of those things. Next question to you guys. Growing your channel, what does that look like for you guys? And are you ever like other maybe normal people thinking, I wish my channel would grow faster?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of wishes their channel would grow faster, but I try not to look at the numbers too much at this point, because we've been in it for about a year and a half now and just putting out weekly videos, and it's going, it's slow, but it's growing slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just like try not to worry about it, because I feel sometimes like when you get caught up in the numbers and you kind of get down on yourself and, oh shit, like I'm working so hard and blah. So I just try to think about it and just try to keep motivated and keep working and keep putting out content for fun. And I don't know, what are your thoughts?
So here's my philosophy on it. It's very easy to get caught up in stats with things like social blades, all the, you can easily track not only your own growth and trends, but other people's growth and trends. And then it becomes very easy to compare yourself to other channels which you feel are similar to yours, but then you start asking yourself questions like, well, why am I not growing like that? And it's very easy to get caught up in that. And I try to steer away from it as much as possible. And we always come back to the fact that, look, we're doing this because we enjoy it. And at the very least, in 10, 20, 30 years from now, we'll have like a very succinct journal almost of like what we were doing back in 2017, 2018. So I think that's, if you're doing it for that reason, then just don't care about the numbers. But I think a lot of people try to get into it as almost like a means of validation in a popularity contest, and that's almost a recipe for setting yourself up for failure, for disappointment, and ultimately for depression, really.
Yeah.
But the theory that I have on that, and I'll finish up here now, is that you will always make yourself feel bad when you look at the numbers, because the people who you are comparing yourself to are the people who you know about, and inherently you have a selection bias for people who are popular and therefore more popular than you.
Right.
But what you don't see is and then you think, oh, they had it so easy. This person just skyrocketed from this to that in like no time. But then you're thinking, what you don't see is the thousands of other channels that you will never see that are at the same level you are, that you'll never probably see because, it just didn't happen for you as fast as it did for somebody else. So in conclusion, don't worry about the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes the numbers are actually powerful. I did a video about how I'm the 704,000th most popular YouTube channel out there, but yet being over 700,000 people above me, I still stole 2.5 million minutes of people's time with the content that I've created. And there is something there where you look at some of those numbers like subscriber count and other things, but don't realize like you can still have an impact, even on a smaller scale. If you've got 100 subscribers, you got 50 subscribers. But I wonder too how many people are trying to create videos to get a giant following. But then I think about the fact that if you get the giant following this way, you're going to have to keep doing that stuff. And if you don't love doing that stuff, you're going to hate your life, because now you have to keep doing all the things that you had to do to make you famous you didn't even love doing. And now like your life's a mess. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
Well, it gets back to our original sort of philosophy of, it's always been, as long as we're doing things that are true representations of our lives, then we're going to be fine. And that's kind of, and if a big following happens, then great. If it doesn't, whatever.
The Patel's question here says, when do you draw a line in shooting to make sure you get a balanced family life? I mean, I'll maybe extend this. I'll put it to you guys first, because I saw, on New Year's Eve you're hanging out with family, but obviously you're filming. Do you feel like sometimes that gets awkward, or does your family understand, or how does that work?
Your family is they understand pretty well. Like, we've been shoving cameras in their faces for years, but I think
Just like since
forever. But I think
junior high school.
Yeah, exactly. I think some of our friends might get a little uncomfortable if they're not so used to it. So recently we've been really conscious when we go home to try not to shove the camera in their faces and be like, okay, we're going to vlog. Are you okay with being in it? Or
if they say no, then we axe them as friends.
You're out.
Exactly. But they're usually pretty cool. I mean, on New Year's, like, we were just going to go out there, and your sister was like, oh, I really want to go. And we're like, well, we're vlogging, and she was like, I want to be in it. So we did that, and usually the fam is pretty cool with it.
But we don't have kids, which is a huge thing, too. I don't know if...
I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that, because you have 3 kids, right?
Yeah, 3 kids, 5, 2, and almost 2. And I guess, it can be easy to be consumed in this whole world that at the end of the day should never matter anywhere close to as much as your family. You know, and being a dad, it's actually easy in anybody's life to be checked out at times and to just be refreshing on your phone instead of like engaging and playing with your kids. You know, in times where I was doing more of the vlogging was, you know, we would kind of do it in an outing, but it's that tension of you're sacrificing some of the moment by sharing the moment with everybody else. And so you have to be okay with that sacrifice as a family at times. But one of the reasons why I stepped back from the vlog too was I was just realizing it was costing my family so much, not just in the filming and the, you know, putting out of the content, but for me too, I love answering comments. I love being in the conversations. I love, you know, I've answered 7,000 comments on my channel. When you do the math on the amount of time that is, you know, it's kind of got to be a little bit in balance, I guess, between those two. But there's also something fun where the vlog can be like a party game too, a bit. You know, like it can actually kind of draw people together and you can have fun with it because the camera's there and people are, you know, wanting to be in it and be a part of it. And so, you know, I think that side can be fun too. And my wife is actually the favorite part of my vlogs for everybody. Like they like her 100 times more than they like me. And she kind of likes, you know, coming into the vlogs and being a part of them. And I know there's times where when I'm vlogging here or there, you know, a little more sporadically now, where she's kind of like asking like, hey, are you going to come vlog like our family time too? Because it's part of the life too. So, you know, I guess it goes both ways.
Yeah, totally.
We're going to wrap up here soon because it's getting close to 10 o'clock and I know you guys have to work. I'm just trying to see if there's any other comments we've got coming from people here. This is one I wanted to ask you guys about how do you be brave in public vlogging? Because that's something that people struggle with.
Oh my God. It never gets easier. It's always super awkward, but it's super helpful having somebody with you.
You got a partner in crime.
You got a partner in crime, you're like, fuck it, let's just go. Sorry, I have a problem.
No, it's all good.
We just do it. But there's been times where I've been out and I've been like, okay, I'm going to vlog and I'm going to go in this corner and talk to the camera like that. And then somebody catches you and you're like, oh, and then you just like run away because you're whatever. But it never gets easier. But yeah, it's easier that you have the same problem. Like, except for you give 0 fucks. Like you in the airport, like do the backpack kid. Like I would be like, oh my God, and I'd run away, like hoping that nobody.
Yeah, it's always like a cost benefit ratio analysis. It's like, will doing this give an improvement to my life that would easily offset the social embarrassment that I'm going to experience doing this? And if the answer is yes, then you know, so it goes. But it's not easy sometimes.
Okay, well, let's show one of these clips here because I actually have you in the airport. Chris's backpack dance is just unbelievable. So we're gonna have to grab that. Okay, where did you learn? You know, if you guys aren't familiar with the backpack dance, you're gonna see it now. Backpack kid dance. How long did that take you to learn how to do that?
I don't know, kind of like 5 minutes maybe.
I don't know how you learned how to do it so quick because generally you. No offense, but like you don't pick up on dance moves like quick.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. Trying to teach him the legit Running Man, like the old school Running Man from like 80s/90s, and he couldn't get it.
Okay, so this is Chris in the airport here. Just the viewers are going to be watching this, and here he goes. He's going by on the escalator right now with an amazing backpack kid airport dance. So that's good because you're the dancer, right, Becky? Dance is something that you do while Chris. Chris, you've had, lots of school time, I'm sure, in what you're doing there, 13 years of school. Becky, I think you'd mentioned dance was one of the things that kind of gave you something to do.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, during Chris's school times, it was like he was studying a lot, working a lot. So I found dance. So I danced for 5.5 years back in Newfoundland. I did hip-hop. I actually started breaking first. And then didn't really like footwork, so I just started doing top rock. And then I got into hip hop, old school hip hop. And then I did also do burlesque, jazz funk. But hip hop is always like my favorite style.
Do we have some like 120 frames per second videos of you breakdancing, or where are we going to find that?
I don't think we do. I don't think we have like many clips. There's like a couple in like one vlog or two vlogs, like a short snippet of me doing some top rock. But
you have to find them at a bar.
Oh, I got to dig.
I don't know, we have a lot.
Gotta dig. Okay, well, what does roadkill DNA mean? I gotta know that.
Oh my god. Okay, so my biggest regret is not starting a fresh YouTube channel, because that was from back when I was in college, when I was in graphic design school. I started a YouTube channel, and they used to call me Roadkill in school, and CNA was College of the North Atlantic was the school. So that was my channel name, was like Roadkill CNA. So I thought, like, I already had like a few subs. So
I think you had 300 subs, and when we started, we were like, we could start fresh.
Or we could
300 subs.
Shouldn't have done it. I should have just started fresh. So I thought that you could change it, like when you change your name, but apparently you can't change the link. So now we're stuck. I do have like a custom one. It's like youtube.com/c/Becki Chris. But for whatever reason, when you link it, it's Roadkill.
Roadkill CNA.
We wear it as a badge of honor.
That's good. Good. All right. Oh, who is Becky's favorite rapper?
Oh my god. Okay. Big fan of Tribe Called Quest.
Oh.
Probably my favorite. But I also am a big Biggie fan. I do like Biggie.
How about Notorious B.I.G.? Somebody suggested.
Yes.
Also known as Biggie.
Biggie.
Is that
yeah.
okay? I'm like, this is one of the things people need to know about me. I know nothing about pop culture. I'm like extremely like sheltered. I don't know bands. I don't know TV shows, and I get made fun of it relentlessly on our Facebook Live show. But like, I just own it. That's just who I am. So anyway, it's funny that they nailed that. That was like thing. Who's Becky's favorite backer? Notorious B.I.G. So
yes, love Biggie.
Big
I
E.
got a question for you, since
Sure.
I saw the PC there. We're cutting on a 2013 garbage can Mac Pro.
I'm not switching to a PC, Chris.
I'm telling her, look,
I'm not doing
get
it.
more bang for your
We
buck.
had this conversation on Twitter.
We did. Here's what you need to do is you just need to switch to Final Cut Pro and get a proper color grading plugin, okay? For those of you guys who are watching out there, I haven't done a video on it yet, but I've been editing Premiere for 3 years and doing so much 4K. If you want to do any 4K editing, you end up just dying in Premiere at the end once you start laying out the timelines and you start overlaying your colors and you start doing that. Like the other night, I was hitting play just to play back in my editing thing, play, and I'd count out 15 to 20 seconds before it would play back. And so I downloaded the Final Cut Pro trial, and it was wild. Now, it's different because you can do these proxy files, right? You can set up proxy files, and it'll make it smoother and faster, which, depending, maybe once a week, you're okay with that. But for me, when I'm doing a video, I just want to edit that night, publish it that evening. And when I feel like I'm losing an hour and a half every night of my sleep due to slow editing in Premiere, I'm just like, I'm done. So I took on an extra job for Monday that's going to buy me Final Cut Pro, and then I'm going to move on with my life. But I think Premiere does run faster on PC than it does on Mac. So if you were saying, no, we're sticking with Premiere, I actually edited the first chunk on Premiere on a custom-built desktop. That's what I would do, is you can go look at Max Yuryev's channel, and he'll show you how to build a wild, amazing PC that's, you know, a screamer. But better than that, Final Cut Pro. But if you're not going to do that, then...
I just can't get down with Windows. I can't get down with Windows.
I'm just saying you need to abandon any of your fangirl allegiances and go with what tools work and what tools are the best and most efficient use of your money.
Windows 10 is actually not bad. The thing, honestly, I miss more than anything is having iMessage, like messages on a PC, because I text all day long on my Mac. Being able to do that, not having that on PC, that was...
AirDrop all the time.
Oh, use AirDrop.
AirDrop, honestly, is a big one, too.
I just love the OS, okay?
Yeah. So maybe you could get a 5K iMac, but it's still, or whatever, the iMac Pro, but it's still not going to give you the same kind of performance that Final Cut does. So, you know, you balance that out, you figure it out. But man, we still have 28 people watching us live right now, which is like kind of cool. And the comments are still rolling in. Lara Riba says new Final Cut color tools are incredible, borderline resolve level. So, you know, that's a...
Really?
Whoa,
Really?
that's a heavy claim there.
We have to do some We just switched from Final Cut like a year and a half ago because I use Illustrator a lot. We use After Effects, we use Audition, so it's like super easy.
Yeah.
But I loved Final Cut when I used it. Well, it was Final Cut Pro, it wasn't Final Cut X.
Yes.
It was Final Cut Pro 7.
Yes, exactly what it was.
So there's a new 10.4.4, big new update coming that's got all sorts of new things for Final Cut apparently. I've got a friend who does just a Final Cut channel. He loves it. We'll see. Anyway, you guys, I think that should be our evening. It's been almost an hour now. To everybody else, if you're tuned in late or coming in a little bit late, you'll be able to go back and, kind of watch us from the beginning. There's some minor little technical issues here or there, but we made it through, and hopefully this isn't the last time, and sometime next time I'm coming out there, we're doing something together. Sound
Get
good?
some wings. Get buffalo wings.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I love wings. I love wings. So I'm going to sign off to all of the audience here when I remember how to get to the right screen to be able to go and end our live stream. So, stream now. We're gonna be able to do that. Anyway, Becky and Chris, you can stay on. But everybody else, you guys